Cutters, Degrassi, Unpopular Opinions. Hey there, Heather, ho there. It's Jeff Cutter Diamond. Welcome you to yet another Cutter, Degrassi, Unpopular Opinion. Excuse me, I hiccuped. Okay, this unpopular opinion has to do with the worst boyfriend and girlfriend in Degrassi history. Now, I did Degrassiisms a while ago about who the worst boyfriend and girlfriend were. I looked at the video because I needed a topic for Degrassi Unpopular Opinion, and then I decided, hey, you know what? Let me see, worst boyfriend and girlfriend, and then maybe I might say, well, people think this, but not the way. Number one on the list for worst boyfriend was Craig, and I tend to agree. I don't know who the worst girlfriend was because when I looked at everything, when I figured, okay, girlfriend, boyfriend pairing, I decided, you know what, I'll go without conventional wisdom. Against conventional wisdom. So what ended up happening is that I decided not to go with the worst boyfriend was Craig. It's got to be Peter because Peter has had a long history of being a bad boyfriend in a sense. I mean, he seems to be caring, but it's basically his attitude throughout seasons 5 to 9 that get on my freaking nerves. And then I'm thinking, worst girlfriend. I don't know who the worst girlfriend would possibly be. It couldn't be Allie because she was a pretty good girlfriend. Or even Maya or Claire, even though that Claire did say, did you flip a switch and take me out of your existence? But no, the worst girlfriend has to be Emma. And then the funny thing was, Peter and Emma actually dated. So I didn't get much calls about my post. But anyway, I wrote, unpopular opinion, worst boyfriend and girlfriend respectively is Peter and Emma, which makes it awkward that they were a couple as is. Peter was toxic, manipulative, and probably crying crocodile tears with his relationships to do with Emma, Darcy, and Mia. But let's not also forget that Peter wanted to be with Manny at the start of season 5. As well, what he did to Manny was not forgivable, especially with Emma going towards him in season 5, knowing what type of dirtbag he is. Thankfully, Pamela had been split up, and he goes to Darcy, probably shedding crocodile tears that Emma dumped him for no good reason. And got her to believe that Adams was a nice person who wanted to buy her photos online. But he was a stalker and wanted to take advantage of her. Thankfully, Adams gets stopped. Ends up getting her back again. Does help her with the rape storyline in season 7 and goes with Mia and does drugs for 2 days and can't cope with Mia's in the circle. Not the best boyfriend. And Ella wasn't the best girlfriend. Was a bad girlfriend because of her trying to take control of the situation. I know Sean and her broke up in season 1 because Sean accidentally hit Emma while he was trying to fight with Jimmy. Emma not finding anybody till season 2 when she ends up back with Sean for some reason. And Sean did dump her off in season 3 to hang out with the Candy Bandits and all that. And Emma goes with Chris in season 3. She then, I still don't know why she was with Chris in the first place. And I feel like with Chris, she only dated him to get back at Sean for dumping her off and trying to prove that she was better than Sean. And she wanted to stick it to Sean for stealing Snake's laptop, when in reality, she wanted him to pay for dumping her, and she nearly loses Chris. Then she loses Chris over the summer before season 4, and then ruins things by trying to prevent Chris and Liberty from dating each other for some dumb reason. And then easily went to Paige's Cliff to be noticed, but that didn't go over so well. And then, she stays with Peter. She wants to be with Peter in season 5. She was desperate to be with Peter, despite his misgivings. And then after her and Peter finally break off, she's with Sean in season 6. Sean leaves for the army, leaving Emma high and dry, and she almost used a fake pregnancy to get back at her. And goes with Damien for some reason. And, Damien did break her heart. And then she manipulates her way to Kelly's heart and controls and controls him. Good grief. So the storyline of Peter being a boyfriend in season 5, Peter was introduced as Emma's love interest. Emma tells Manny that I haven't been with a guy since Hurricane Sean blew through my emotional trailer park. And then for me, it's like when she made that statement, it's like it kind of does lead me to believe that she wanted to be with Sean in season 4. She wanted to be with Sean after all, he did save her from Rick's gun and killed Rick. So Emma felt close to him. I think she kind of did know that he was with Ellie, but I think she was hoping that Sean would be with her. I mean, she was weak and all that. She needed protection, if you will. Well, protection, quote unquote. But the simple fact to me is that, that was a weird storyline. It's like, wait a minute. If you're talking about Sean before season 3, what about Chris? Did you leave Chris out on purpose? You went out with Chris. Or maybe Emma just doesn't think that she was with Chris and hates him. But then, Peter comes in. Emma falls over Peter. But Peter wants to be with Manny. And Manny, to her credit, decides to say, hey, you know what? Emma likes you more than me. And then, Peter manipulates Manny and all that. Shows her drunken video around the school. Gets little repercussions except for Manny's detentions. I mean, his mom's the principal, Miss Hatzalakos, and everyone is shocked. Especially Emma and Manny. And it seemed that, that was awful. And then, he ends up dating being in a relationship with Emma, but behind everyone's back because, people didn't want Emma to be with Peter because of what Peter did to Manny. And that's why Manny got kicked out of her home. And, well, it's for the acting. But then Manny lives with Emma for a while. And then Emma wants to be with Peter behind Manny's back. Although she wanted to destroy Peter for Manny, but couldn't because she was wooed by shirtless pics. He was like, oh, wow, this is the man for me. And she grabbed onto Peter, even though that it seemed wrong. And then, their relationship almost got spotted in the Jay and Silent Bob movie thing. But then Hatzalakos kisses Snake, and then Emma has to deal with that problem, as well as more responsibilities around the house. She's trying to do too much, in a sense. And it's almost like Manny and Spike are not really helping her. And that's when Emma gets an eating disorder and tries to get it kept secret by Manny in exchange by saying that, I'm with Peter and all that. And Manny's shocked and all that. Peter does help Emma realize her eating disorder. And, start season 6, they're a couple. And then Sean pops in the picture. And then after hearing what Sean and Emma went through previously, Peter panicked. Emma didn't give him a straight answer to who she'd rather be with. So he decided to take matters into his own hands, get Sean out of school for fake drugs. Emma doesn't believe Sean's story. And, Peter's got Emma. But then Sean wants to street race for Emma's heart. And it was called off because of the fact Sean hit the pedestrian. The pedestrian, I think, is alive, right? Yeah, that's right. And then Peter's got Emma back. And, is happy. But then once everything falls into place, and then Emma finds out that he put a mask in her locker, kind of in the same way as he put drugs in Sean's locker, because, he knows his mom's locker sheet, and knows that he did for the relationship. Emma finally decides to slam him. And then, Peter's like, well, he's scum. And then, Manny and Emma were concerned about Darcy being with Peter because of him being scum. But Peter says that they're just jealous exes who didn't know a good thing when it came, and manages to fool the gullible Darcy into doing the pictures and then being with him. And so, he ends up in contact with Adams and unfortunately steered her towards Adams. Thankfully, it was stopped and Peter and Darcy break off. Perfectly so. But then Peter somehow, in some way, gets Darcy back. Does help her in season 7 with the rape storyline, that Peter was a good boyfriend. It was about, I think he was turning things around. And then and then Darcy goes to Africa, probably not on her accord. Maybe her parents were just trying to get rid of her because of her escapades the previous year. Christian Paris. Ugh. But anywho, he goes with Mia, falls for Mia's daughter Isabella, mostly because Peter has a half sister. And then he takes drugs for 2 days. He thinks he's addicted. He calls his mom up to help him out, and Mia goes to Paris without him. So yeah, Peter was a terrible boyfriend. I mean, for one thing, trying to be with Manny even though Manny said no. Are you kidding me? And then he goes with Emma, and I think he manipulates Emma to thinking that Manny's a bad person. In a way, I think Emma was still, I believe, happy that Manny fell in her lap because then she could actually get Manny to be on her side. If not, then she can kick Manny to the curb. I didn't think Emma was that evil. But, Emma just wanted control over things. So then, of course, the Peter Emma storyline. Emma was a terrible girlfriend for staying with Peter, especially after the whole street race thing, saying that, oh, it's Sean's fault and he hit the guy. That's why I'm closer to Peter. Peter was part of the street race too, and it was for Emma's heart. But Jay and Manny spend time trying to convince Emma that Sean's suffering and that Peter was the bad guy the whole time. Emma talks to Manny about it, saying that Peter's great. Who was there at the hospital holding my hand? And all that when I was diagnosed with having anorexia, bulimia. But that's false. It was Manny who was holding Emma's hand. Although Emma probably either was dizzy thinking one person was for another, or Peter did that in the hospital, like off screen. So yeah. It's like she has feelings for Sean. She's conflicted, but she's with Peter. I mean, okay, you want to stay with Peter because you don't want to dump him off. But then that mask in her locker, she finally blows off at him, and there's a good chance Peter was crying crocodile tears to Darcy, saying that Manny and Emma are mean people and all that. They dumped me off for no good reason. It's like, well, Darcy was gullible enough to believe Peter's bullshit and all that. Even after the Adams thing, Peter should never have been with Darcy. But I think, in a sense, Peter wanted Darcy around because, Darcy, he might have known about Darcy changing Spinner's perspectives a lot. Spinner got expelled in season 4. He wanted help to get everyone back in his life in season 5, which Darcy was a big integral part. So Peter must have heard about that and wanted Darcy to try to fix his life. I mean, Peter does become a good guy in a while, but then when Mia leaves for Africa, Peter is just upset. No, not Mia. Darcy leaves for Africa. And then he goes towards Mia, and then Mia says, I've had enough, and I'm leaving you for Paris. Peter's, a little upset. I mean, after all, all the girls just seem to leave him, and Peter basically thinks that that everyone just hates him. Gee, I wonder why. And, Emma being a saint is not perfect either. Emma was controlling in a lot of things. I think in all her relationships, she wanted her boyfriends to stop eating meat and all that, to be an environmentalist like her and share all the interests that she likes. She probably wanted a male version of herself, which she never got. So basically, yeah, Emma was desperate. I mean, yeah, her behavior is implausible. It's like, trying to destroy Sean for dumping her off. Like, I understand. Emma has a right because Sean left her for the candy bands because Emma had no time for Sean because she had to deal with Snake having leukemia and a new baby brother. How are you going to find time? Even at school, maybe. But Sean took it the wrong way, went with the candy bandits, and Emma wanted Sean to pay dearly for moving on. Chris called her out on the bullshit, saying that she was just... If Sean didn't have a girlfriend, I think Emma probably would not have destroyed Sean, in a sense. So Emma was just being stupid. Somehow Emma and Chris were still boyfriend and girlfriend after that. Emma struggled to try to explain to Chris why he's perfect for her. Like, at least Emma wasn't prejudiced and all that because, Chris was black and all that. But Emma and Chris broke up over the summer. I bet Emma was probably the catalyst of why they broke up. But anyway, then Emma decides, I don't want Chris dating Liberty. And Manny's like, okay, you want back together with Chris. I can help you. And then Emma says, well, for one thing, if Chris dates Liberty, what does that say about me? And Manny's like, I'm shocked you would think that way. And so am I. I'm thinking myself, since when does Emma care about what people think of her? She does all these causes. She is bad-mouthed a lot. But she doesn't care what they freaking think of her. Why now? Why are you caring about this, Emma? It just don't make sense. It doesn't pass the sniff test. So to me, it's like, ugh, my goodness. Her plan is ruined as Manny tells Liberty everything. Manny and Liberty break off from Emma. Emma does sheepishly tell Liberty she missed Chris but didn't want to admit it. Are you stupid, Emma? That would have been the easiest thing to do. But Manny and Liberty leave Emma. She then goes towards Paige's Clique to try to get noticed. And then, Paige's Clique dump her off for protecting Rick, quote unquote protecting Rick, if you will. And Emma's alone. The only people that interact with her are the Quizball team. And Emma felt high and dry and all that. Especially with Rick making advances towards her. Emma spent season 4 just wanting something. And then she goes with Jay down to the river for oral favors. It's like she's using Jay because she's trying to get back at her own self. And everyone was concerned about her. And the fact that Emma refuses to talk about her problems in such a way that she could get help is just one thing. I think she wanted to be with Jay to trying to be like everyone else. I think her problem was trying to be normal like everyone else. She knew that Manny and Liberty had boyfriends, so she wanted to join in. Of course, with Peter, it's like, what the hell? And your best friend counted on you to try to ruin Peter for her. Emma wanted revenge, and she would have got it. But she falls in love with Peter? Yeah. And then, with Damien. It's like Emma spent season 6 tearing Damien limb from limb and was upset that Damien was with Manny. Because, in the wake of JT being stabbed by the Lakers people and Damien being the Lakers student president, and also, as I think Mia puts it, that Damien's family knows Drake's family, Drake Lampley's family. So, yeah. That's kind of weird and all that. She's with Damien and all that. Well, she was with Sean. Sean actually was miscast as someone who wanted Emma to walk all over him and all that. And then he leaves for the army. Emma feels terrible. She always wanted to be with Sean. I think it was clear from day one, especially in season 4 when she wants to be with Sean because, he saved her from the bullet from Rick. And the simple fact was that, Sean went back to Osaga for PTSD stuff, and Emma was upset, thinking, I'll never have anyone. And then that's probably why she called him Hurricane Sean, pulling through her emotional trailer park. Like, poor Emma. But the simple fact with Ems is that, she was manipulated. Season 8, in the college years, she did everything she could to get power. She manipulated things that her, Liberty, and Manny were in the same dorm room, and with Kelly as well. She gets Kelly somehow, even though Kelly and Manny should have been a good pairing. And then it seems to me by the time the recycling episode happened in season 9 that Kelly was tired of Emma controlling things and taking charge of things because he wanted to do things. He wanted to try burgers. He wanted to do all this stuff, but Emma refused to let him do that and basically shaming him. And then, Kelly's dad wants him to go back to the Yukon to work because, it pays the bills and all that. And this recycling project, what fallout's going to happen from it? I think Kelly's dad also figured that Emma was being a control freak. And so, logically, Kelly leaves for the Yukon and leaves school for that matter. It's like he goes back to the Yukon, I guess, to avoid Emma. Emma feels upset about herself and drops out of school. Also with the fact that Emma was not doing well in school because she was chasing friends instead of grades, because with Manny gone to Hollywood and Liberty probably going to pre-law, Emma was all by herself, and that caused Emma to have breakdown over the fact that she wanted friends. She wanted a boyfriend. And we can trace her girlfriend mentality back to Rick. Because, Emma didn't have a boyfriend that probably would have stopped Rick's advances when possible. Emma tried to stop Rick's advances, and then Rick brought the gun and shot Emma. Or almost shot Emma. Let's not forget that Rick didn't really want to shoot Emma. The only reason why he had the gun towards Emma in the first place was he did put the gun back in his locker after almost going after Paige, but Paige calmed him down inadvertently. So he put the gun back in his locker, and after Jay and Spinner trick him into going after Jimmy, he then conveniently turns after he shoots Jimmy and finds Emma, and wants Emma dead for spreading his advances. But the simple fact is that, it's shocking because Emma probably figured that if she had a boyfriend, that boyfriend could have wrecked anyone kind of like a Rick Murray type and prevent her from dying and all that. That's why she was close to Sean. That's why she wanted Sean. That was why Sean was my second or third Degrassi Unpopular Opinion a couple years ago. So the simple fact is, she wanted to be with someone. She wanted to be normal like her friends and have a boyfriend and all that. She was controlling and all that, but she was just trying to be like everyone else. She was trying to be normal, and, well, it bit her in the butt. So, yeah, Peter and Emma were terrible boyfriends, girlfriends with each other. I know you could say Sav was a terrible boyfriend because he let family rule his judgment over his relationship with Anya, or even Craig for manipulating Ashley and Manny, like being that love triangle. But whatever you say, it's got to be Peter and Emma. They both had been terrible boyfriend and girlfriends for different reasons. Anyway, I'm Jeff Dunn.